Now, the Deputy Senate President of Omo-Agege is running to become the next governor of Delta State in Nigeria's South-South region in the March 18 governorship election. However, the two-term senator for Delta Central District has a major hurdle standing between him and the actualization of his ambition. Omo-Agege is running on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. He emerged the gubernatorial candidate of the APC last year after battling for the party's ticket with aspirants like the current Minister of State for Labour and Productivity, Festus Keyamo, who initially led a faction of the party but has now pledged to work for the party in the elections following post-primary reconciliations with the Deputy Senate President. Well, joining us to assess the chances of APC's Omo-Agege is Saturday's governorship election and his plans for the state is the party's chieftain and founder of Delta Democratic Front, Ofobruku. Good to have you and welcome to Newsday today.
Thank you very much.
Right, now let's look at the dynamics on the ground. Since 1999, of course, we all know that Delta State has been a PDP state. Now, with the rise of Peter Obi and the Labour Party, and we saw their performance at the February 25th election, both nationally and, of course, within Delta State as well, who do you feel is Senator Omo-Agege's main contender? Is it what is now known as the political orthodoxy of the PDP, or is it the rising force, or rather the risen force, that is the Labour Party?
Okay, so for 2023 general elections, particularly the Goba polls on the 18th of March, the election is between the people of Delta State and Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. The election is not between Omo-Agege and the PDP candidates. It's between the people of Delta State and the incumbent governor of Delta State. The incumbent governor of Delta State is running through the person of Right Honorable Sheriff Ofobruku, while the people of Delta State are being represented by Senator Omo-Agege for the elections.
So you, sorry, before my colleague takes over, so you don't feel the Labour Party has any influence whatsoever based on the fact that, you know, on the presidential ticket, they did take the state?
Yes, actually,
it's of no consequence.
Actually, the Labour Party caused a disruption in the presidential elections. But that was to the extent that Mr. Peter Obi was on the ballot. For the governorship elections, the person parading himself as a Labour Party gubernatorial candidate, he was on air this morning. To the best of information that I have, as somebody who knows him, he was just an ad hoc candidate. He only came into Labour Party to their platform when he saw the rising wave of Peter Obi across the country, very close to the elections. He was initially not the candidate of Labour Party. Labour Party had another candidate that was from the same senatorial district as the incumbent governor. I can tell you for free that he's actually playing the script of the PDP. They planted him there as a placeholder. But having seen the wave consequent upon the outcome of the elections on the 25th, he now sees himself as a possible governor in 2023. I heard all he said on TV. When you talk about governorship candidates for the 2023 election, I do not think it's one of those that you should even consider at all. The effect of the obedient movement on the 25th of February will be completely different from on the 18th of March. The reason is not far-fetched. The obedient movement is not a political party. The obedient movement is a movement of people who believe in quality leadership, good governance, change in the status quo, and they cut across all the political parties and non-aligned Nigerians. Some of them are not even party members. The people who voted on the 25th for Peter Obi, I can tell you for free, some of them are APC members, some of them are PDP members, different parties, and those who do not believe in parties at all, who do not belong to parties, beg your pardon. But be that as it may, they have decided that for presidency, they believe Peter Obi is the best man for the job, and they went for Peter Obi. In Delta, this same group of people, majority of them believe that for governorship, it is Senator Omo-Agege that should be governor, and they are rooting for him. Today, anywhere you go in Delta, what you hear is, please pardon me, what it simply means is, once you see the broom, don't.
Okay. I want to go back to what you said during your opening statement that what's going to happen in Delta is basically the governor Ifeanyi Okowa is running through Oberwari and it's versus Deltans. Yes. But you were his former special advisor.
Yes.
And is that where this speculation is coming from?
Well, not really. Personally, I worked with Governor Ifeanyi Okowa for 6 years. From his first tenure, in his first tenure, I was a member of the Assembly. I worked with him for 4 years. I was Director of Administration in his campaign in 2019 when he was running for second term. So I can tell you for free that I have worked closely with the governor and as an insider. But as humans and as adults, we are entitled to our choices and opinions. First, I disagree with the choice of Atiku Abubakar as presidential candidate of PDP. As far as I'm concerned, for 2023, it is the turn of the South. If you ask me, I will say our local, it's our turn. So when Atiku Abubakar came up as the presidential candidate, I personally was not satisfied. And I told myself that I would not be party to any decision or anything that would change the entire southern Nigeria. Secondly, the choice of the governor for governorship candidate. Of course, he was my junior colleague in the Assembly. He met me in the Assembly. We taught him legislative business. I know him. In fact, he's from my place. We grew up almost in the same neighborhood. So somebody I've known over the years. Ideally, we expect that I will latch onto it and begin to support him. But Delta has gone beyond sacrificing meritocracy or the altar of mediocrity. For Christ's sake, Anambra is our neighbor. They have the former CBN governor as their governor. So we cannot afford to be talking about excess local content, street credibility. As God, you can't put that in your CV. What's your qualification? I have excess local content. I have street credibility. We are talking about Delta of 2023. Delta should be Delta where the Committee of States are mentioned. We are a major, if not the biggest oil producing state today. So we should have a state that is governed by somebody who, if for nothing, has the basic knowledge and experience of governance, and not an apprentice. We cannot afford an apprentice in 2023. We are already lagging behind in terms of infrastructural development and human capital development. So we cannot afford. So considering the choice of the party for president and the choice of the party for governorship, I initially indicated the choice to be governor myself because I believe that I qualify. I believe I have the requisite experience. I believe I have what it takes. I believe I have enough education to be governor of Delta State. But once the system is skewed in such a way as to produce a candidate I do not believe in, I also had the opportunity of looking elsewhere to see that there's an option. Fortunately for Delta State, it is not just an option for me, but the entire state has decided that it is this man running on our behalf versus the governor and his candidate. So on Saturday, 18th of March, it's going to be showdown. It is going to be last fight for the governor because he lost the presidential elections where he was supposed to be a vice president. For we as Deltans, it's going to be last fight for because it's an opportunity to break away from the last 24 years that has happened in the state.
If I may, you sound like you're relatively aggrieved to an extent because it looks like you were also vying for this position. But for those that might not necessarily subscribe to your school of thought, numerous projects are being commissioned, and basically this looks like a case of the outgoing governor, handing over the baton to Oberewori, and according to his perspective and PDP's perspective, he seems to be the right man for the job. And also, a publication says that Okowa has recently approved 1.9 trillion naira a project that will be financed and constructed by the World Bank and the European Investment Bank. This was what was mentioned by Oberewori. So even though you are making these suggestions or expressing your view as is your right, what if this is based on PDP's perspective? This is someone who is fit, and even if it doesn't meet your own criteria, you're in a different party altogether. So is this not just a case of PDP, APC, and whichever party might be going to the polls on Saturday, as opposed to aligning this with an individual?
No. Far from it. Far from it. Like I said earlier, if you consider the place the PDP governorship candidate is from and my place, the first consideration should be that I should be in front supporting him. Now, let me tell you something. I was instrumental to the impeachment of the former speaker that brought him as speaker. That is to tell you how much relationship we have. But you see, we must learn to call a spade once upon a time. Personally, I'm saying that the kind of job that has to be done, what is at stake? The stakes are high. What is at stake? street credibility and SS local content does not qualify for the job. There are other jobs that street credibility, SS local content will qualify for. When such openings come, we will gladly support him to get it. But for the governance of Delta State, forget those numbers that are big branded. Those ones are just to lure the electorate. In the last 1 week, the governor has been going around crediting Deltans with 10,000 naira vote buying. He has been paying 10,000 naira to the accounts of civil servants, local government workers, primary school teachers, secondary school teachers.
Let's bring the conversation back to the candidate that you're backing, that's Senator Omo-Agege. While we're still on the topic of commissioning projects, one of the major criticisms against your candidate is that he tends to be clannish in warehousing developments to his own, to himself, his brother, and his village. That during his time as Deputy Senate President, more development has been seen in his locality than within the rest of his sphere of influence. Based on this perception that exists, how is he going to maneuver this to woo the support of people from outside his own locality?
Okay, thank you very much. First, we need to appreciate the fact that distinguished Senator Omo-Agege is not in the executive arm of government. He's not the governor, he's not a local government chairman, he's not Mr. President. So he does not actually execute projects. But as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and by the grace of God, Deputy President of the Senate, he wields some influence. He's able to influence certain projects from the federal government into his senatorial district. But he has even gone beyond the senatorial district. He has influenced projects to Delta North and even Delta South senatorial district. The point is this. A senator representing Delta Central means that he's from Delta Central. The first question you should ask is, the projects he has influenced, are they in Delta Central? The answer is YES, it's yes. This is the only senator in the history of Nigeria that has brought projects to every community in the senatorial district. He started by installing street lights in every community. Read my lips, quote me, every community in Delta Central Senatorial District. After which, to improve power supply, he went ahead to distribute transformers again everywhere in every senatorial district. Every community in the senatorial district. Before going into attracting such projects as the Federal Polytechnic Orogun, which is a bill he sponsored. There's a popular saying, charity begins at home. Charity begins at home. He's the sponsor of the bill. He has brought the Polytechnic. But let me tell you the challenge he had. I do not want to mention some communities so that they do not see me as a bad person. He actually had the intention of even citing the Polytechnic in another part of his local government. But the community people were making spurious and outrageous demands for compensation for land. I remember vividly during the construction of the East-West Road, when the project started, I have a parcel of land along the road. I remember very well some old people from my mother's community calling me to come and create artificial graves, shrines, and fish ponds on the land so that I can claim compensation from Cetraco, the contractor. And I said, no, I cannot be the one obstructing development that everybody is looking for, that the government is bringing to us. That is one of the behavior of our people. Some of them were arguing that, for the Maritime University that was cited at Okerenkoko, the federal government paid SY amount of compensation. So why should our case be different? So they were making impossible demands, and time was running out. The only place he could get land without hindrance is his community. So what should he do? Should he allow the bill to be passed and life follow so that another administration will come and is cited somewhere else? We do not want to be like one of our brothers who got approval to build a university in his community and took it to the north. So he had to appeal to his community people. Please, this is my challenge. And they gave him land for free. So that was the genesis of how the Polytechnic landed in his community. As for the other projects like the industrial park, I can tell you for free, the industrial park is not in this community. Is it the JAM computer-based testing center? There's no big deal about JAM computer-based testing center. It's just a small center where people can go and sit for JAM examination. But the point is, he has been able to influence projects across the senatorial district. Even the Right Honorable Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly, who is the PDP candidate, the Deputy Senate President brought street light to his Osubi community, where he lives. But himself as Speaker, the state government street light that he brought were the ones he put on the road leading to his hotel. Meanwhile, the one that this Deputy Senate President brought is the one that is shining at night in his community. So these are the kind of people so you cannot compare the Deputy Senate President and the Speaker or the Governor. Otherwise, I will go and list the plethora of projects that the Governor has put around him in his community as a city governor. The University of Delta today that is in Agbo has the Faculty of Engineering in the hometown of the Governor. Faculty of Law in the hometown of the Governor. Yes, so I'm just
assessing your candidates.
I'm trying to juxtapose the various interests.
We basically have 2 minutes.
So as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he has represented us well. He has been able to attract projects, and the projects are cited in Delta Central Senatorial District. There are no two ways about it. Some people mention that an independent power plant, it is just the power station that is powering the newly built polytechnic. You know, this is the period of propaganda, so anybody can say anything. After all, talk is cheap.
Well, we have 2 minutes. In the event that things don't go your way on Saturday, yes, and your candidate does not emerge the governor of Delta State, what's next for him? Okay,
let me quickly say that the electoral process terminates at the courts. The courts are part of the process. They are not outside the process. If we feel cheated, though I'm not speaking for my principal, I'm not speaking right now for Distinguished Senator Omo-Agege, he has his views on that.
Yes.
Personally, from my own viewpoint, at the end of the elections, if we do not win, which I very much doubt, because even our ancestors in Delta State, they have all risen, it's a fight to finish. If they were privileged to have PVCs, I can tell you for free, they will cast their vote for the broom on Saturday. Not because everybody in Delta has become lover of APC. Let's not get it wrong. But because everybody in Delta now sees Omo-Agege as the face of the liberation we very much desire. So we are casting our votes for Omo-Agege to represent our interests in the government house at the end of the elections. Now, if you look at what happened on the 25th with the use of beavers and PVC, it is now very obvious that the voters are truly the bosses and the employers of political office holders. So every politician who won election on the 25th of February and the ones that will win on the 18th, they now know that if you do not do well, your boss will fire you in another 4 years. In our local palace, we say you do anyhow, you see anyhow. That is what it is. With your PVC, you can hire and fire. And that is how it should be. So I expect that we will win and win convincingly. But if the need arises and we feel cheated, I think the proper thing to do would be to go to court. And it's very much unlikely.
Okay, Honorable Efe Ofobruku, I know we have to go, but very quickly in one sentence, what do you say to the obedience who are saying Labour Party top to bottom, Papa, Mama, Pikin? What do you say to them?
Okay, yes.
One sentence, please.
I very much understand there are some group who sees it that way. But I think those groups, they actually lack understanding. Let me give you an example.
One sentence. I'm so sorry, we're
My
just out of time.
senatorial district did not have a Labour Party senatorial candidate in the elections. So where do you get the top to bottom when you do not have a candidate for that position? That is why we must look beyond the slogan of top to bottom and look at the quality and caliber of the people. You will agree with me that Aisha, what's her name? Is it not Aisha Yusuf that supports Mr. Peter Obi?
Yes.
She even disagrees with Peter Obi on their candidate in Enugu State. So that is how it should be.
All right. Thank you so much for your views. That's Honorable Efe Ofobruku, who's, of course, an APC chieftain in Delta State. Thank you so much for your time and your views. We wish you well this weekend.